That was Dolphins quarterback Teddy Bridgewater, who entered the game last night following a head and neck injury suffered by starter Tua Tagovailoa. The show is PFT Live, presented by Google Pixel. Learn more at googlestore.com. We say good morning to our audience on Peacock, Sirius XM 85. We are live today on Sky Sports NFL in the UK and in Ireland. Peter King is with me. I say, Peter, good morning. Welcome back. Great to see you on another Friday. We've got some important things to talk about today before we pivot to the far less important subject of what happened last night in the game and what will happen this weekend in the remaining games.
Mike, I think this could be a seminal moment for the National Football League because clearly what happened 5 days ago is that the NFL, through its program, including the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant on every sideline of every NFL game, looked at Tua Tagovailoa after he got up wobbly from a hit where his head hit the ground, got up wobbly, had to be helped from the field, and then that was late in the second quarter, and at the start of the third quarter, he came running out to play football. And so everybody said, wow, what's going on? What's happening? And the NFL obviously said, hey, we have an unaffiliated neurotraumatic consultant at every game, and he tests the players on protocol for head injuries and head trauma. And if he passes that concussion protocol, that head trauma protocol, he gets to go back in the game. Okay, fine. He goes back in the game. And then Tua Tagovailoa gets hit again Thursday night in the game. And it was a significant hit, obviously, for those who saw it. And his fingers start twitching. His arms start twitching and moving in odd ways. And so we soon learn that this can be a result of such an incident, such a concussive type blow. And so the reason I say this could be a seminal moment for the NFL is that the NFL, I believe, needs to further examine its return to play protocol and needs to basically say that if a player walks off the field wobbly and appears to the unaffiliated neurotraumatic consultant that there are some possible head trauma, there is a head trauma situation in the case, regardless of whether he passed the tests or not, he should not return to play that day. That, to me, is what the last 5 days tells me.
You're absolutely right. And I want to go back to Sunday because it sets the table for what happened last night. I spent a lot of time on Sunday afternoon reviewing the concussion protocol, communicating with the league office, trying to understand what happened, why he was allowed to return, and then, as the NFL Players Association got involved, what would happen going forward. And here's the key aspect of the concussion protocol that needs to be considered very carefully. And I have unanswered questions that I posed to the league multiple times on Sunday, and they didn't answer me. And they still haven't answered me, and I assume they haven't answered me because they have to answer to the NFLPA. When a player demonstrates what the protocol calls gross motor instability, and we all saw it after Tua Tagovailoa had his head hit the ground on Sunday. He got up, he was wobbly, and then after that, he has to be held up by a player. We see the wobble there, and then he keeps walking, and a teammate comes up and actually holds him up. That is gross motor instability under the concussion protocol. As the policy is written, Peter, the player cannot return unless the team physician and the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant both conclude that the gross motor instability did not have a neurological cause. My question to the league that has still not been answered, what did they do to come to the conclusion that that was not neurologically caused? Because we all saw it. We saw it. We know it when we see it. We saw it, so we know it. When Mike McDaniel, the head coach of the Dolphins, after the game says, I thought it was a head injury too. Yes, so did anyone else with functioning eyes. We all saw it. So how did they find a way to wedge Tua in this loophole of wasn't a neurological cause? Because if it was, If it was, he can't return. He can only return if they conclude there was not a neurological cause. So what did team physician and UNC do to come to the conclusion? Did they study the film? Did they study it carefully? Did they just take Tua's word for, it's my back? Don't worry, I'm fine. You can trust me. I have no skin in this game. I don't care if I play or I don't. Come on. We can't listen to players in situations like this. We should have learned that by now, and if we didn't, we know it now. We can't say going forward, well, yeah, we'll just listen to the player. But what did they do, Peter, to come to that conclusion? They haven't answered that question. They'll be answering it within the context of this investigation. And the investigation is important now because it takes on far greater significance. Because if he had been ruled a no-go in the concussion protocol parlance on Sunday, there's a good chance he wouldn't have been playing on Thursday night. And that's the real question. Should he have been playing on Thursday night? And the broader question that the NFL needs to reckon with is whether other players should have a higher bar for playing on Thursday when they're injured on Sunday, regardless of the injury. Is that enough time for certain injuries to recover and play again, whether it's back, ankle, rib, shoulder, but most importantly of all, concussion and head trauma? Do there need to be bright lines that have no loopholes that apply no matter what in these situations? I think that's the real question the NFL has to ask, because it seems like, Peter, anytime there's a loophole, somebody finds a way to shove a camel through it.
Yeah, Mike, I think once you saw the video on Sunday and once you saw the gross instability, and it wasn't necessarily when he first got up and just shook his head like he was trying to get the cobwebs out. It was obviously the second time when he got up and almost fell over. And that, to me, basically says to a team, to anyone, that that person should not be involved in an athletic contest for the rest of that day, and not again until he passes very stringent standards. The one other thing I guess I would say about the whole thing, Mike, is that this really reminds me of the bad old days. When, remember how a player would say, oh, it wasn't my head, it was my neck. I just had a lot of pain in my neck. Or, my shoulder. My shoulder was really bothering me. And that's why I was making those motions out there that some might consider motions common to concussive effects. And in the old days, everybody would say, oh, yeah, okay, all right, just go play. Now, because so many players over the years abused that because it was a badge of courage to go back in the game. So many players really abused that not until the Ben Roethlisberger incident in Seattle, when they were down 8 points late and he voluntarily took himself out of the game because he just couldn't see straight. That's really about the first time or one of the first times that I remember in a competitive environment, a really good player taking himself out of the game and just saying, hey, it's not worth it. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I'm not going to risk going back in and playing with what is likely a concussion. So to me, I think there needs to be even an extra layer here. Not only the unaffiliated neurotraumatic consultant on the sideline, but also the ability to simply say that if you have this gross instability, if you're wobbly, if even for a moment you appear to be punch drunk, your day is over.
And I remember the Roethlisberger incident, Peter. You did a great job working that story, but you and I had the conversation at the time. You may not remember this, but my point was Ben Roethlisberger is one of the very few players in the NFL who has the luxury of tapping out. Most guys can't do it. Right. Most guys can't say, I choose to not play and give my backup a chance to play better than me and keep me on the sideline indefinitely. Ben Roethlisberger knew he was playing no matter how much time he missed due to his belief that he had what the Steelers used to famously call or notoriously call concussion-like symptoms. And I think the easy fix to the concussion protocol is there's no longer an exception. If you have gross motor instability, it doesn't matter what tests you pass in the locker room.
Correct.
Gross motor instability needs to be treated the same as the fencing posture. A lot of people got a lesson last night in what the fencing posture is, and we've seen that happen to players in the past. Case Keenum had it in 2015, a very bad situation for the NFL where no one bothered to take Case Keenum out of the game after he was in the fencing posture, which, as Mike Ryan, NBC sports medicine analyst, explained to Al Michaels last night, and Al Michaels explained to the audience because Mike Ryan is part of the Amazon broadcast, the idea that the fencing posture is a reaction to neurological trauma. It's involuntary arm and hand reaction to neurological trauma. We saw it. We're not going to show it to you. It was troubling. It was difficult to see. But when Tua's head hit the ground last night, we immediately saw it. That is a no-go. No matter what protocol you pass, no matter how healthy you are deemed to be later, you're not coming back into that game. Easy fix. When we see gross motor instability, we're going to treat it the same as the fencing posture. That's the easiest fix they can make because someone somehow found a way to check the box that it wasn't neurologically caused when anyone with common sense would have concluded that what we saw on Sunday was neurologically caused. How could it not have been? It wasn't his back. It wasn't anything other than his head. And I'm not calling the guy a liar. I'd have said the same thing if I was in his situation. I want to play football. It's my back. I'm fine. Let me play. It's
I
understand
Buffalo
the risks.
Bills. It's the biggest game that you've ever played in your NFL career. That is why players say, I'm fine, I'm fine. They want to play in the game. They've been training their whole lives, including in major college football, to play in games exactly like this. You think they're voluntarily going to want to come out of the game? They have to be forced to come out of the game.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.